We currently live in a peak foodie era. Every day, media bombards us with high-speed, macro-focused footage of artisanal plating and sacred gourmet preparation. In the mid-1980s, however, food on screen was largely invisible. Most directors treated meals as mundane set dressing, props for characters to poke at while the actual dialogue moved the plot forward. That changed in 1985 with the release of Tampopo, the second feature from actor-turned-director Juzo Itami. The film follows a rugged, wandering truck driver named Goro, who decides to mentor a struggling widow as she attempts to save her neighborhood ramen shop. Itami structured this quest by borrowing from the American spaghetti western. He took the archetype of the lone cowboy riding into a frontier town and mapped those hyper-masculine tropes onto the world of Japanese street food. While the film works as a comedic parody, its true complexity lies in the moments where Itami stops the ramen western cold to explore something else entirely. This maps the film's structure. You see the main ramen plot as the center line, but Itami fractures the narrative to insert 13 disconnected sketches about food. These vignettes abandon the main characters entirely, functioning as standalone sociological essays on human behavior. By decentralizing the plot this way, Itami moves the film beyond a simple linear story, creating an anthology that documents how the act of eating changes depending on the person holding the chopsticks. Consider the man in white suit. He appears throughout the film in vignettes that investigate the erotic dimensions of appetite. In his most famous scene, physical intimacy is entirely replaced by the delicate, repetitive transfer of a raw egg yolk between his and his mistress's mouth. This chart shows the technical tool Itami used to capture that scene. Cinematographer Masaki Tamura used a 50mm lens, mimicking the compression of the human eye. It effectively isolates the subject and removes the background, creating extreme sensory proximity for the viewer. This approach strips food of its role as simple nutrition. In this vignette, the egg becomes a medium for bodily connection and primal sensory pleasure. But Itami also looked outward at the 1980s Japanese bubble era. This was a period defined by rapid consumerism and a preoccupation with adopting Western status symbols. He satirizes this in a vignette featuring a spaghetti etiquette class. A group of wealthy women learn exactly how to eat pasta without making a single sound. Itami uses sound design to mock this propriety. Hashimoto amplified the aggressive slurping of a nearby diner, creating a loud, rhythmic contrast to their silent, stiff behavior. The scene ends with the women abandoning their lessons to slurp their own noodles. It's a comedic moment, showing raw biological instinct, shattering artificial social hierarchies. Not all of these sketches are funny. In the film's most tragic sequence, a working-class husband demands that his terminally ill wife cook one last meal for their children before she dies. Itami frames the physical exhaustion of her cooking as a final exertion of her life force. She collapses the moment the fried rice is finished. As the family eats through their tears, the food becomes a bridge between life and death. They are physically ingesting the final legacy of a loved one. When we return to the main narrative for Tampopo's triumph, she has synthesized the lessons of her mentors to perfect her craft. With the shop a success, Goro and his companion depart, their mentorship complete. The film's real-world impact was immediate. It catalyzed the 1980s Japanese gourmet ramen boom, transforming a cheap, post-war staple into an artisanal obsession. It also established a template for the modern foodie comedy, influencing films like Eat, Drink, Man, Woman and the detailed culinary sequences found in Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away. By documenting everyone from corporate executives to wandering truckers, Itami proved that the primal drive to eat is the great human equalizer. It is the single biological truth that connects our joys, our sorrows, and our survival.